Good afternoon, card community. It is RJ, it is Sunday, and it is time for the Sunday Trivia Recap. Okay, so let's get right to it. Monday's question. Monday's question had to do with Jackie Robinson Day since it was Jackie Robinson Day. My question to everybody was on what day did Jackie Robinson make his professional baseball debut? Now, the way it's phrased right there, and I think I did qualify it, that was Major League Baseball, not Negro League play, because certainly the Negro Leagues were a professional league. You know, people were, the only thing that defines professional is that someone's getting paid to do it. So, yeah, clearly when Jackie played for the Kansas City Monarchs at the time, you could argue that he was playing professional baseball. I will not dispute that. However, it was my intent for you to tell me when he first made an appearance in what we consider major league or minor league professional organized baseball, for lack of a better word. Now, a lot of people threw out a guess in March. A lot of people threw out a guess in April of 1946. I have here this little snippet. People say first game with Montreal was March 17th, 1946. That was when he played an exhibition game between the Royals and the actual Brooklyn Dodgers. However, he made his first regular season start on April 18th of 1946. I would argue that April 18th is the answer, not March 17th. The reason being, assume for a moment he had played in that exhibition game in March 17th, but then never played another game and never played regularly for the Montreal Royals. Would anybody say that Jackie Robinson had ever been a member of the Montreal Royals? It's likely they would not. They'd say, no, he played one exhibition game, but he was never part of the team. So I would argue that the answer is properly given as April 18th, 1946. Now, it doesn't really matter if you got it right or wrong. You know me. As long as you put out a guess, it'll be entered on the board to win the prize. And the prize in this case is a 1956 Jackie Robinson reprint card. This is from they put out a set called the Brooklyn Dodgers Archives Commemorative Card Set. It came out in the early 90s. Can't remember the exact date. Almost an exact. They were Topps was putting out a bunch of archives reprint card sets at that time, and this was one of the ones from the Brooklyn Dodgers set. I'm still trying to finish up that set. I need a couple more. I bought a box a couple months ago at a hobby shop and just didn't get all of the cards in it. But this was an extra one I had, so I'm going to give this away as a prize. It's a pretty cool prize, I think. The individuals up here on the screen were kind enough to throw out a guess. Shout out to a channel called Brock's Boys, Aaron and Jordan. They are newbies to my trivia contest. Welcome aboard. If you guys win, you guys can fight over the card. It's a cool little channel. There's a lot of family members involved. They have they got a Phillies cap in the circle picture there, the thumbnail picture. But I don't think they're from Philadelphia because I'd watched the channel. Maybe I missed it, but I'll have to pay more attention. But I don't think they're actually in Philadelphia. But it's nice to see a Phillies cap in the thumbnail. All right, so we will shuffle once and spin. You must hit 3 times to win on my channel. I do that because I don't get a lot of people guessing. And I just like to make it more suspenseful rather than one and done. So good luck to everybody. Here we go. A couple of interesting things coming up this week. I'm going to go back to the Forgotten Hall of Famer motif. I'll be dropping that video on Wednesday, showing off a bio about a member of the Hall of Fame that most people have forgotten is even in existence. So I like to do that because I'm such a history of the sport, more so than a fan of baseball cards or the Phillies even. I'm a huge, huge fan of the history of baseball. Baseball, unlike most other sports, has a very rich history. You could certainly argue that as golf, perhaps horse racing, have equal rich histories, but certainly of the four major sports, what we call the four major sports in America, certainly baseball has the richest history going back into the mid 1800s. So I'm happy to get back into doing the Forgotten Hall of Famer motif. Will say if you guys haven't been to Cooperstown, please try and get there because that is my mecca. That is where I love to go. Told my wife several years ago. Oh, 3 for Lisa Z. All right, congrats to Lisa. Lisa, you're going to get this awesome Jackie Robinson card sent out to you. Congrats again. We're going to move on to Wednesday. Wednesday's question. Wednesday, I had shown off my video of my tour of the Cleveland Stadium, showing off all the different monuments and plaques they had around the stadium. So I asked the Cleveland question, and the answer to the question was the Cleveland had a really, really bad team in 1899. They were so bad, they lost a record 134 games while only winning 20. They were the most pitiful team ever to play Major League Baseball. So the question became name that team because it wasn't nicknamed the Indians at the time. Certainly wasn't the Guardians, but it wasn't the Indians. What was the actual nickname of that team? And the answer is they were the Cleveland Spiders. That's what they were referred to. Now, interestingly, why were they so bad? There's a little bit of backstory I want to share with you. The owners of the Cleveland Spiders at the time actually had purchased the St. Louis Ball Club. The St. Louis team at the time was still called the Brown Stockings. So they had purchased the St. Louis team. And the St. Louis team, they felt St. Louis had a bigger population, a bigger fan base for baseball, and the owners decided to take all of the stars, all of the good players out of Cleveland and move them to the St. Louis team that they just purchased and try and turn that into a contender while completely ignoring the Cleveland franchise. I'm not going to go into the full details of how pathetic it was, but it was a very, very ugly season in Cleveland. So, take some time and read the story, but needless to say, it did not bode well for the citizens of Cleveland who probably wished they didn't even have a team at that time. What it did do, though, is after the 1899 season, the National League magnates decided that 12 teams might just be a little too much. Most leagues at the time had only 8 teams. In fact, if you consider the first half of the 1900s, the two leagues, the American and National League, both had only 8 teams. So 8 teams appeared to be the right number for a competitive balance in Major League Baseball. So at the end of 1899, the National League team owners decided to pare down to 8. They did so, lopping off Cleveland, obviously, and a couple other teams. But what this did was it opened the floodgates to Ban Johnson, who at the time was the owner or the leader of what was known as the Western League, had a couple of teams out in the Midwest. And they decided to invade the National League territory. They put in teams in 5 of the 8 cities, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, St. Louis, and Chicago. They put direct competition teams right into those cities, adding in a new Cleveland franchise along with the team in Detroit and another one in Washington, D.C. And that became the American League. There was a little bit more to it than that. There was some of the actual first teams. New York didn't have one in 1900. It was in Baltimore. St. Louis didn't have one in 1900. It was actually Milwaukee. But eventually, those what we know as major the main 16 teams did take shape. But anyway, by cutting down to 8 teams in the National League, it allowed Ban Johnson to create the American League, and they were successful where several other rival leagues had failed. And we have basically baseball as we know it today. And you could say the Cleveland Spiders played a small part in the development of what we know as Major League Baseball today. The individuals on this screen were kind enough to throw out a guess. Shout out to an individual named Chris G. Chris, I tried to find any channel associated with your name. I went to the Wednesday video that I had posted looking for a comment from you, but couldn't find one. So if you have a channel you want to shout out, please tell me. And the next time you send out a guess, I will use your channel name instead of Chris G. And anyway, everybody else is pretty much a regular. Lisa Z. Lisa, you are out. You cannot win but once a week on my channel. I do that to let everybody else share in the wealth. So here we are again. We will shuffle once and spin. Good luck to everybody on this one. Don't know if I told you, but what you're playing for is a this year's gold foil card of Josh Naylor. This is a hobby jumbo box exclusive, the gold foils. And it's not numbered, but it is pretty cool as a Cleveland Indians or Guardians thing. So that's what you're playing for on this one. A couple of other things I'm showing off this coming week. They had shown in the past a couple what are called the Topps Gallery of Champions. That is the kind of a little, real quick, three and done Goody G. So congrats to Goody. Goody, you're going to get this awesome gold foil Josh Naylor card from this year's Topps. Congrats to you, sir. Moving on to Friday. Friday, I had an interesting question. I said, I gave you 4 Hall of Famers. Let me show you those Hall of Famers right now. All right, these 4 Hall of Famers, at one time or another, they're not known for being with the Phillies, but they did play with the Phillies one time or another. My question to you was, which one of them did not finish their career with the Phillies? So they all played with the Phillies, but which one of them did not end with the Phillies? So we have Hugh Duffy. Hugh Duffy was primarily an 1800s, late 1800s player. Jimmy Fox, everybody knows, Double X, the Beast. Lloyd Wainer, Little Poison. And then Hack Wilson. Everybody remembers Hack Wilson almost exclusively for his 191 RBIs. That's pretty much why we know Hack Wilson. I said, which one of these guys did not end their career with the Phillies? Now I have something else to show you just to prove to you that these players actually did play for the Phillies. I created my own cards. I like to create my own cards that I use to celebrate various things having to do with the Phillies in my team. And these are custom cards I made that celebrate every player in the Hall of Fame who ever played a single game for the Phillies. So here's a picture of Hugh Duffy in his Phillies uniform. Now, unfortunately, you can't see the uniform. He's wearing his top coat in this picture. So this is Hugh Duffy while he played with the Phillies. Here is Jimmy Fox in his Phillies uniform. If you know Jimmy Fox's history, he did come up as a catcher with the Philadelphia Athletics. Certainly by the time he was with the Phillies, they were not playing him as a catcher, probably still at first base. This was where most people know him as. But here he is in his Phillies uniform. I imagine he was either mugging for the camera or just, sitting behind the plate warming up a pitcher or something in this picture. So but he is there in his Phillies uniform. Here's a picture of Lloyd Wainer in a Phillies uniform, the year they had just the word Phils across the chest. And then lastly, Hack Wilson in a Phillies uniform. So clearly these four players did play for the Phillies, but the question was which one did not end their career in a Phillies uniform. Well, let's take a look at these cards because on the back are their career statistics. So here's Hugh Duffy. If you look on the back, you'll see he played 3 seasons in the end of his career with the Phillies, although he only played 1 game in 1906. And in fact, he was player manager for a couple of those years. That's one of the reasons why he was with the Phillies. They gave him the job of player manager. So Hugh Duffy did end his career with the Phillies. Jimmie Foxx. Jimmie Foxx played 89 games for the Phillies in 1945, his final year. He actually hit his final 7 home runs in a Phillies uniform. Hack Wilson. Hack Wilson played in 1934, 7 games for the Phillies. He only banged out 2 singles. That's all he was able to accomplish in those 3 games, although he made the most of them, got 3 RBIs at the time for his work. So Hack Wilson did end his career with the Phillies, which means Lloyd Wainer was the answer to the question. He did not end his career with the Phillies. If you look on the back, you'll see he played 1942 with the Phillies, 100 games, but came back in 1944 with the Brooklyn Dodgers and then was traded or maybe went to the Pittsburgh Pirates. And, perhaps fittingly, he ended his career with the Pirates. So congrats to Lloyd Wainer for finishing with his team. But he is also the answer to that question, which one of these 4 players did not end their career with the Phillies? It was Lloyd Wainer. So the question then became, what are you playing for? What we're playing for on that one is a 19, or it's actually, I should say 19. It is from last year, 2023. I think it was an insert in Topps Archives, but don't quote me on that. It might have been in the base product. Corbin Carroll, the Baby Bombers rookie card of Corbin Carroll. That's what you're playing for, so good luck to everybody on that one. So what do we have? Lisa Z is out, and I think it was a Goody? Goody G, you are out. I don't know, did Goody throw out a guess in Friday? Yes, you did. So Goody, you are out on Friday as well. Everybody else, you are still in. I had no newbies in Friday. Everybody else is a regular, so shuffle once, spin. Good luck to everybody on this. I was saying I am showing off a couple new of those metal cards, the Gallery of Champions, where they Topps produced a faux leather briefcase, felt lined, with cards, little bit mini cards, about the size, about a quarter size card, and it is made to look exactly like the card of whatever player they highlighted from that year. I actually picked up the 1990 bronze and aluminum sets, so solid piece of aluminum, solid piece of bronze, little mini cards made to look like the actual 1990 versions of the players. So I'll be showing those off next week, as well as one of the things I hope you all take a time to do is, if you know Ray from Philly, he released this year's voting for the Baseball Card Hall of Fame. Do check out Ray's channel. 3 Good Nerds. I will be dropping my video on Friday, but please check out Ray's channel so you guys can get involved in voting for the Baseball Card Hall of Fame. Congrats to the guys over at 3 Good Nerds. Awesome Corbin Carroll rookie coming your way. That's all I have for you today on my trivia recap. Hope you enjoyed that. If you did, please consider liking, subscribing, commenting, all that jazz. I really do appreciate your support as I try my best to support everybody else in this great card community, all right? Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great week. I'm going to try my best to do that. So thanks for watching and take care.